We are often told that vampires are fiction, myths to explain away diseases like rabies or tuberculosis in the Middle Ages. We tell ourselves that monsters don't actually drink blood. But in 1932, the Stockholm police walked into an apartment that challenged everything they knew about human nature. They didn't find a monster with fangs. They found something much worse, a human being with a soup ladle. This is one of the most gruesome and baffling unsolved murders in European history. It's a case that sounds like a gothic horror novel, but I assure you, the police files are very real. This is the story of the Atlantis vampire. And fair warning, this one gets visceral. The year is 1932. The Atlas district of Stockholm is a quiet working-class neighborhood. In an apartment on St. Erik lived a 32-year-old woman named Lily Lindström. Lily was a striking woman, well-liked by her neighbors, but she lived a secret life. In a time of economic depression, she made her living as a call girl, hosting wealthy male clients in their apartment. Because of her profession, Lily was cautious, but she was also comfortable with her downstairs neighbor, Minnie. In fact, on the evening of May 1st, Lily knocked on Minnie's door. She was stark naked, wrapped only in a coat, and laughing. She asked to borrow a condom because she had run out. She was alive and happy. That was the last time anyone saw Lily Lindström alive. By May 4th, Minnie hadn't heard a sound from upstairs. No footsteps, no knocking. Worried, she called the police. Officers arrived expecting perhaps a medical emergency. They forced the door open. The apartment was impeccably clean, tidy, quiet, but there was a strange heavy smell in the air. They found Lily in her bedroom. She is laying face down on her bed. She was naked, her clothes folded neatly beside her in a chair. It looked at first glance like she was sleeping, but when the medical examiner turned her over, the horror of the situation became clear. Lily had been bludgeoned to death with a heavy object. But that wasn't what made the veteran police officers recoil. There was almost no blood. Lily had been killed by severe head trauma, an injury that should have resulted in chaotic crime scene. Yet, the bed was relatively clean, the floor spotless. The autopsy revealed the terrifying truth. Lily's body was almost completely drained of blood. Now, you might think maybe the killer cleaned it up. But 1932 forensics determined the blood wasn't washed away. It was missing. Gone. And then investigators found a piece of evidence that gave this killer his name. It wasn't in the kitchen. Resting on top of Lily's neatly folded clothes in the bedroom was a silver soup ladle. It didn't belong there. And when they tested it, the bowl of the ladle was coated in Lily's blood. The grim realization hit the detectives instantly. The killer hadn't just murdered Lily. He had used the ladle to drink her blood. Police were hunting a vampire. They interviewed dozens of Lily's clients. They suspected a man she had been seen with earlier, a customer she seemed afraid of. But despite a massive manhunt, fingerprints found on the ladle matched no one in the system. The killer had walked out of the apartment into the busy streets of Stockholm and simply vanished. There is one final heartbreaking detail. The condom Lily had borrowed from Minnie. It was found at the scene, still lodged in the victim's body in a way that suggested post-mortem desecration. This wasn't just a robbery or a crime of passion. This was a ritual, a fantasy played out by a psychopath who likely had done it before and would likely do it again. The press went into a frenzy. They dubbed him the Atlas Vampire. Residents of Stockholm locked their doors. Every shadow looked like a monster. But as weeks turned into months, leads dried up. The DNA technology that could solve this today did not exist in 1932. The saliva on the ladle, the biological evidence, it was all useless back then. What's truly terrifying about the Atlas Vampire is the intimacy. This wasn't a sniper or a bomb. To use a ladle, you had to be calm. You had to be patient. You have to stay in a room with the body for a very long time. It implies a comfort with death that is almost inhuman. Today, the apartment building still stands. People live there. The case remains open in Swedish police archives, but the file is dusty. The Ladle, the only witness to the horror, sits in the Swedish police department. So who was he? A doctor? A butcher? Somebody with a dark fetish? We will likely never know. But what we do know is the killer never committed a crime like that again. There is no evidence linking him to any other murders. The next time you hear a creak in your apartment, or you see a shadow move where it shouldn't, remember Lily. And remember that sometimes the monsters are real.